let's talk about restorative poses. I'm going to show you a couple of postures that you can set up, and these are meant to be more passive shapes, passive postures that you can kind of sink into, lean into, and they will still work to open up different spaces of your body. They're great to kind of meditate in and focus on being present and focus on existing in your body, feeling your body. They're also really good to work on patience, to work on experiencing sensation. So in some of these poses, you might experience some type of almost discomfort, and discomfort is okay. Pain is never what we're going for. Pain is never the goal. So if you're ever feeling a sensation that's pain, then that's your body letting you know, hey, please back away, and you want to listen to that signal. If you're experiencing something that might be a little uncomfortable, then that's typically okay. So recognizing the difference between pain and discomfort is something that we can do here. Now, these aren't intense poses, so pain is really not what we're going for. I kind of set that up to make you think that maybe it was a little intense, but it's really not. So I'm going to show you a couple of these poses and how you can set them up. So I have a random assortment of pillows that I'm going to be using, and then go lie down, bud. No, not right here. Okay, well, hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. So I've got 2 blocks, which I can use, and then I also have pillows or cushions, which I can use as well. So I'm going to show you how to set it up using each of these types of props, and then you can try it out, and I hope you enjoy. So this first one is probably my favorite restorative pose of all time. So starting out on a real high, and it is called reclined butterfly or Septu Baddha Konasana, and we're going to add a heart opener to it. So the heart opener portion is going to help us open up our pecs, open up the chest, which tends to get closed down, so it's really great to just kind of open up this heart space. And then we're going to add a butterfly pose to it as well. So there are a couple different ways that we can do this. First of all, we've got 2 blocks for our heart opener. Now, typically when I'm teaching this in class, I have people start on the low and the medium setting of these blocks, because it totally just depends on what's going to be comfortable for you. And we make this little T shape at what would be the top of our mat. And these blocks, the long one is going to go in between your shoulder blades, and then the second one is for your head to rest on. So I've set these up with a little space in between, and then my hips are a little bit away because I don't want my low back on this block. And then I carefully let myself come down so that right at the bottom of my shoulder blades connects with the edge of that block, and then I let my head come down. Now, if you have like a ponytail or something, then that can sometimes get in the way, so you want to adjust your hair if you need to. And then again, you can see that my low back is not underneath the blocks. It's my rib cage, my shoulder blades, and then the back of my head is here. Another thing that I'll see quite often is this block kind of like tilted at an angle, and people are kind of having to like hold themselves up. You want to try and adjust it so that block is sitting nice and level on the floor. That way you can totally just sink in. And then from here, I open up my arms. And then there are a few different things that we can do with the legs. So right there, I had my legs in crisscross applesauce. I could also let my legs go long and focus on this heart opener. And then that reclined butterfly is the last piece, and I could bring the soles of my feet together and come into a butterfly pose with my lower half. And so this is one variation of Setu Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly with the heart opener. And then when you're here, you just chill. And it is so nice. Now, another thing that might happen is if you're in reclined butterfly, you might feel like, that's really stretching my hips kind of more than I want. You could take cushions on either side, sorry bud, and then let your knees or your outer legs rest on those cushions. And then this makes it even more kind of a supported and relaxed posture. Now, when you come out, you can kind of use your elbows for a little bit of support. It might be easiest to kind of like roll onto one side a little bit. You want to bring your legs together probably first, and then carefully come up off of the blocks. So it can be a little tricky to come out of the pose, but whatever works for you. Now, another variation with the blocks that brings a little more intensity maybe is to put the blocks on the medium height and the tallest height. So this increases the kind of amount of heart opening that we get. And for some people, this is too much and it's just not comfortable. And if it's not comfortable, then there's no reason for you to go here. It's not like doing more for you just because it's at a higher setting. So this just creates a little more like drop for the shoulders, and it's also going to like lift through the sternum a little bit more. And so this is another variation. Like today, I would probably be like, I'm not feeling this. This is a little bit uncomfy. That's a little better. So if you feel like you've got any pinching or anything on your spine, then try and adjust the block so you're not feeling a pinching feeling. If you're still feeling a pinch, then you probably just want to go onto the lower block setting. So that's that variation. I bring my legs together and I find a little leverage, make sure that I use my core to lift myself up. And the other thing is you can totally just roll onto your side to come out. Now, if you don't have blocks, that is okay. We can still do this, and it's really lovely with cushions. So I've got one kind of like fluffy cushion here, and I'm going to use that as my base. And then I'm going to put a second one that is a little bit elevated, and maybe, I don't know, we'll see how this works. I'm going to put like a third one. And so notice how I have this kind of tier progression going. That's because this is going to support my rib cage, and then this is going to support my head. Sorry, bud. Go lie down. Lie down. Good boy. So this is going to support my head, and I want there to be some elevation. Bud, lie down. Okay. So same setup. My hips are a little bit away from the edge of that first pillow, and then I'm going to let myself come down, and oh yeah, that's pretty nice. And then I let my arms come out to the sides. And so this is a passive way to extend the spine. So with sitting, we tend to, thank you, we tend to round forward or come into spinal flexion. And so this is a way that we can passively open up or extend through the spine, which helps to keep our spine more neutral rather than getting kind of chronically rounded, especially through that upper back. And so this is another variation. And again, with the legs, you can kind of do whatever you want. If you want the hip opener, then you can do reclined butterfly. If you want to just focus on that heart opener, then you can stay right here and just keep the legs extended. And then coming off of the pillows is definitely a little easier. So you can roll yourself off the pillows and For this, you can just kind of feel it out, but I would recommend sitting in this shape for like 2 minutes, up to kind of however long you want to be there, like 2 to 5 minutes is probably just a really nice opening. And then when you come out, so after you chill in this space for a few minutes, then remember that your spine was just in extension. So your thoracic spine was just in this extended position. So then it's really nice to bring the spine into neutral, and you can do that by coming down onto your back and just letting the spine kind of come into that neutral shape. And then this will bring us to our next pose, which is supported bridge. So this is another one of my personal faves. And supported bridge, we're gonna do it with the block and also with the cushions. So supported bridge, you are down on your back, and then first we'll show with a block, and you lift your hips, and then you slide that block underneath, and you're gonna place your sacrum down on the block. So it's not your low back. Your low back is totally open and lifted, and your pelvis, this bony part, is what is actually resting on the block. And then here, you can just, again, relax. If you got that ponytail, you might want to adjust. And you're still getting this kind of heart opening. So think about rotating palms up, a little opening, but still having a neutral spine or a neutral pelvis. So we're lifted here, but I don't need to like tilt my pelvis in any way. So this is really nice for recirculating the blood a little bit. This is getting us in a little bit of an inversion. If you notice that quick swap, I flipped the block up to the medium height. So you can do it on the medium height. You can do it on the low height. And when you're in this pose, try and keep a neutral pelvis. So if you lift the block so high that you're like really tilted and your rib cage is opening up, then that's gone too far. It's better to just keep this controlled, relaxed, and neutral. So benefits of supported bridge, it helps to, it's a little bit of an inversion. So it's like handstand, but the really, really relaxed version. And so it helps with some recirculation. It's really relaxing. Another thing you can do here is you can extend your legs, and you can find a stretch kind of inside your pelvis. So getting into your psoas. So just extending the legs and letting the legs fall off the block is a way that you can vary this. And you can use that block, or you can absolutely use a cushion. So same setup, but you just take a cushion underneath, and it's not going to be quite as structured. The block's nice because you can really kind of like feel the weight of your pelvis, whereas the squishiness of the cushion doesn't give you that same like level of support, but it still elevates your hips and creates a little bit of that recirculation. And another thing, so if you have 2 blocks, you can create a little wider base for your hips. So if you feel like you're kind of like falling off to one side or the other, then you can place those two blocks next to each other and you can create a wider base so you feel more stable. And then you can hold it again. You can hold it for a couple minutes and then let those blocks come out. Maybe hug the knees into the chest. And so to review with that first one, the reclined butterfly with the heart opener, you really are focusing on getting some extension through the thoracic spine. So this is a big heart opener. And then with the supported bridge, it's more about having a neutral pelvis and neutral spine. So your pelvis is neutral in reclined butterfly because it's on the floor. But when you elevate it, it can get a little wacky if you go too high. So in supported bridge, you are looking for neutral pelvis and neutral spine. And then you're just kind of looking for those recirculation benefits. Okay, I just had to figure out what I was doing. But I'm gonna show you two quick low back openers and then we'll be done. So this one is a really great kind of QL opener. So the quadratus lumborum, which is on your low back off to the side of your spine, like right above your hip bones. This is a place that can get really tight, and this is the way that you can open it up. So we start in a half straddle, left foot in, right leg extended, and then we place a block on the inside of the right knee. Now, depending on your flexibility, depending on your openness, you can kind of adjust the block accordingly. But kind of starting inside the knee tends to be a good starting point. And then you're gonna place your right elbow down on the block, and then you place your head in your right hand. And then you may start to feel a little bit of opening on this low back. Now, what tends to happen is we tend to compensate by bringing this left shoulder down and in, and we wanna really open up that shoulder. And then maybe you make a little adjustment with the blocks, and then I like to bring my left hand behind my back because this cues my left shoulder to stay open. So I take the back of that hand to the low back and I'm opening up as I lean over. And so just notice if you're kind of collapsing inward, that's not really stretching the same area. And you want to try and keep that left shoulder open and you're leaning over in the same plane as kind of as your pelvis and as your leg. And if you needed more, I don't really need more, but you could bring the block to a lower level. You can still do this even if you don't have blocks. You can take the back of your right hand and just kind of let it release on the inside of the leg, still left hand on the back of the sacrum, and you just focus on letting yourself lean over that right leg. And so you can do that to the right side, and then same thing over to the left side. And this is a really great one where I appreciate this one a lot because you can sit in it and just kind of feel this space opening up. And it's pretty cool because typically, at least for me, when I get into this shape, I feel very tight. And then like a minute or two later, I'm feeling like these fibers kind of stretch apart, which is just pretty cool. If it's too much to have that extended leg straight, then you can place a cushion underneath that knee and that little bend just kind of gives some ease to the hamstring. So that is our QL low back opener. And then this last one is very prop heavy. So if you have like a bunch of pillows or cushions that you can use to kind of recreate this, then that's great. And I'll show you what you can do if you don't have props too, I think. Okay, so this last one, it is a little bit of a twist. It's a little bit of a hip opener, and it requires props, or it could use a lot of props. So I'm going to start by making a T with my blocks. So I've got hot dog style and hamburger style. And then I'm basically going to stack my pillows up on this thing and see if I can make like a ski slope. So that's what I'm going for. I'm going for a kind of ski slope situation here. That is way better than I thought it was going to be. So we've got this ski slope, and then I'm going to bring my right hip kind of up toward my ski slope, and you can't see because this guy is in the way, but I'm in deer pose. So I've got both knees bent. My left heel is over by my left butt cheek, and then my right leg is bent in front of me. So this is deer pose, and then I'm sliding. Oh, thanks, bud. So I'm sliding my right hip up, and you can see that my pelvis is square, perpendicular to the ski slope. Got lots of imagery going on here. And this is gonna get a nice stretch for my left hip, so my like outer left hip. Then I'm also gonna get this like very gentle twist. So what's gonna happen is I'm going to twist my sternum, so my rib cage, over the ski slope, and then I'm basically just gonna lay down on it. And that's the pose. So you can just kind of let yourself relax. And so this one isn't like the biggest stretch in the world, but it's super relaxing. It feels really supported, and sometimes that's all you need. You just need that support. So that's the first side, and then I can come over, and then I bring my left hip up, my right leg bends behind me, and then I twist over, and I let myself hang out. And then, if you don't have any of this, so get rid of those, and let's say you have a block, what you can do is you can still do that deer pose shape with your legs. You have your block over to the right, so my right leg is kind of in front of me, my left leg is over here, and then I can still twist and maybe come down onto my forearms and bring my forehead to the block. So that's one variation. And then if you don't have blocks, you can do the same thing. You can twist over and you can kind of hold yourself up. It's just not going to have that same like supported feeling because you don't have 3 cushions and everything underneath you, but you can still get the same action of the pose, just in a little more active variation. So I know this was a little different. I didn't kind of go through the whole practice with you, but I hope that this gives you some tools that you can use, some new poses to try out. And it's something where if you get home from work and you just want to like take 5 minutes for yourself, you can set up one of these poses and just kind of lean into it, sink into it, and that can reset you for the rest of your morning or the rest of your evening or wherever it is that you are finding yourself existing. And these are also really great if you're injured. So if you are experiencing, or if you're working through some sort of injury, it's okay, and we have to learn to do what we can when we can. So there's never a right yoga that you should be doing all the time. You have to do the right yoga for yourself in a moment. And if you're injured, it might be setting up one of these poses and just letting your body relax and focus on healing itself. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you soon.